Welcome to the TIP Network, where we help you level up with self-improvement with a
little sprinkle of sarcasm on tap. So what we have here is a reaction. This came out about a little over a month ago with the roommates interviewed
Jordan B. Peterson.
Dr.
Jordan B.
Peterson, who is controversial. Came to light with the controversy of him talking about pronouns and his refusal, or not to use the pronouns, but the refusal to be compelled
by the government.
To be compelled by the government, which he did not. He was a free speech advocate, and I think people were really confused what he was saying. He did not want the government to compel his free speech.
But he's willing to respect someone's pronoun usage and wanting to be
right. And
be called that pronoun.
You got in trouble for refusing to call trans men and women by their preferred personal pronouns.
No, that's not actually true. I got in trouble because I said I would not follow the compelled speech dictates of the federal and provincial government. One of the policies was that if you didn't use the preferred pronouns of a given group, that you could be charged essentially with a hate crime.
If I was sitting here in front of you as a chap and we began the conversation, at the beginning of the conversation you stumbled and called me he or she, and I was perhaps identifying the other way around. And then if I'd said to you, please, I'd rather go by she, how would you respond to that on a personal level?
I use whatever pronoun seems to go along with the persona that they're projecting publicly. It's the simplest thing to do.
And it really interests me because Jordan Peterson comes off as a very grounded, logical person. He had a health scare a couple of years ago. It's good to see him back out there healthy again and doing his thing. But I do think that this reaction will be very important because it's aimed strictly at the men to help you improve, especially with your interpersonal relationships, i.e. dating.
And right before we begin, Jordan B. Peterson is definitely one of my favorites. He talks a lot about Carl Jung and his works. To get a little nerdy on you guys. But anyway, Jordan B. Peterson is very important for self-improvement in general for a wide array of people to help people self-actualize into their fullest potential. And that's a core belief I hold and that I wish to impart to you guys. But anyway, let's get into the reaction video.
And so let's roll a clip. Here we go.
Why can't men find women to date? That's not your problem. Your problem is why you can't find the woman you want. Yeah. And you have to assume that's your problem, because otherwise you have to assume that it's the women's problem. And really? They're all wrong and you're right. Really? Lucky you. Maybe you are. You're an undiscovered gem of some sort. Probably not.
And so right here, it's very profound is the accountability aspect. That's why, like, for me, I always talk about the holistic development of the individual. In this case, the self-improvement for men to become the best version so you can find and attract the best female version that's compatible with you.
So I've been telling this story a lot, martial arts instructor, and I actually had a lot of men coming to me and wanting me to help them improve their masculinity, I would say. If that was the best way I could say it, like they wanted to learn how to
act like a true man, have honor manhood in the world.
Well, I think they just figured martial arts was a way to install some discipline in their life. And one thing too, there's a coach mentee experience that always happens where, like, at one point you'll be working with somebody and they'll start telling you stuff about their life. And I don't know why it works like that. I do it with my coaches, with people I'm working with. My Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach, while right before he strangles me, I come up with a very ask him a question about something, or we talk to him about stuff and just things in general and how we feel. With Brenda King, my instructor, there are certain things that I talk to her about when she's my overall JKD instructor. With my other instructors in the past, I've always had that relationship with them. So this gentleman, he came to me and let's say that he would be malodorous at times, and it wasn't like, sometimes I see people like they can't afford to take care of themselves, but this gentleman was paying full price, a lot of money an hour, 3 times a week, right? So one day he asked me, like, why did I think he couldn't get women? And he was upset. He was upset at women, and he would. And I think the thing that took me about this, he said something like, "These bees, they just want money and this and that." And I said, "Well, if they just want money, you got plenty of money. You're an engineer. You're an engineer. You got plenty of money, so that can't be the problem." And then he realized, like, he had got himself into like more. And I said, "Well, look, dude, you stink. You don't,
like literally,
like you smell bad."
Oh,
I told him, "You smell bad. You come here and you smell bad sometimes, and so." if you're not prioritizing your hygiene.
So he's not washing up, basically.
If you're not
so
washing
even
up, if
the
you're
Kevin
not,
Samuels cologne ain't gonna help. He needs to actually wash under the.
You need to wash
wash your bowels, right?
He needed to wash his undercarriage, dude. He needed to wash his undercarriage and get a scrub and shine. But like, you know, if you're not doing that, and then it was just other things too. It was just like general, like I was seeing like the way you dress, and I said, well, do you always dress like this? And he said, yeah. And I said, that's your problem.
What does he dress like?
I mean, he would just wear sweats and a t-shirt that was kind of like too small, and like he just didn't care. And so I think that you have to understand, what are you bringing? What are you presenting to the market as a person? Just on the outside, right? Because, you know, I believe in working from the outside in. So after you complete that, then you start going to other things like, are you a creep? And when I say are you a creep, I mean, when you talk to someone, can you look at a woman in her eyes, no matter how beautiful, how big her boobs are, and just have a conversation with her?
A normal conversation.
Fluid
conversation.
Without there. Do you have things to talk about when you go on a date? When somebody goes on a date with you, do you have a plan for that date? You know, or is it just like, we're going to, no. If you're going to go out with somebody and you're trying to impress them, and hopefully you've vetted them, you've had some talks with them before, so you're not just throwing money out the window. But like maybe she's interested in you and you want to see where it's going to go, and you show up and you really don't know what you're going to do. That just breeds incompetence as a man. Like in my experience, if you ask someone out on a date, it's your responsibility to have things planned for them. So like, hey, you can go to the museum. Maybe you go to the museum, followed up by a walk, followed up by dinner, followed up by a little dessert, followed up by some coffee, spend a few hours together, and then, you know, you can get a feel for it. But this gentleman, that just really struck me when Jordan Peterson said, it's not all women, because this guy was mad at women. And I think a lot of times in the manosphere and red pill community, we get mad at women without looking at ourselves saying, wait a minute. Is it all women or is it just me?
You got to take a look in the mirror.
Well, I mean,
and what can you improve on?
Well, because the thing is, if it's all women, then you mean to tell me that there's no one in this billions, in your city, let's not even say the world with the billions of people, but just say in your city, out of 150,000 to 1 million people who live in your city, you can't find one person? Either you're shooting way too high, you're looking in the wrong place, or you're full of shit. Okay.
And I would say be the latter. You're full of.
You're probably full of it.
All right. So anyway,
a lot of young men have been sharing with me, average woman has no desire for the average male, and that because of things like social media, that now they feel like they're above a lot of these average males, which also contributes to a disparity between young adults being able to connect and form meaningful relationships.
Yeah, well, women are more picky in their mate choices than men, especially sexually. That's the case in every culture. I would say to young men who are irritated at women is, if you're irritated at women, you know, as a class of creature, there's something wrong with you, because they're right to not pick you.
So what do you? Okay, so let's break this down real quick.
Unpack here
With the Hafiz, and I'm sure he's bringing it as fact, but I'm not sure how much he embodies the belief, is that women have an elevated sense of self. So now they're shooting above their pay grade in this case and not looking at the guys on their same level. What do you think about that?
I think that's true.
That's true. Okay.
I think that's true in a lot of ways because, look, I mean, there's a lot more competition for men out there. There's a lot more competition for men out there, but I would put this caveat to this: the women that he's interested in, and the women that the average guy is interested in, is doing that. So I mean,
the average guy that's interested in what kind of woman?
The average guy that's interested in
give me the physical looks, the inherent character attributes.
So very rarely where you hear a guy say, "Well, a 5 is fine for me." Yeah, a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Let's make it start to make this more normalized with the Patrice O'Neal scale, 1 through 30.
1 to 30, yeah. So
instead of saying, okay, she's hot from 1 to 10, you have to say she's hot from 1 to 30. Do you understand? And you take 1 to 30 and you divide that into groups of 10, and they consist of ugly, average, eye looking bitch, and fine. Okay, so 1 to 10 is ugly, 10 to 20 is alright, 20 to 30 is fine.
So for the bottom 10, the bottom 10, the middle 10,
and the top 10.
Very good, Mike.
We have to, because
Very
we're
good,
talking
my
about
friend.
Patrice O'Neal. Let's honor him, all right?
Yes, Mr. Patrice, Mr.
Mr.
O'Neal.
Patrice O'Neal.
So, like, very rarely will you see a man say, you know what, I'm good with like a 12, you know, like just above the bottom rung, you know, maybe this or that. And you see guys nowadays say, listen, I want her to be a 20, 22, like,
Which would be like a hot girl,
like a hot girl,
but not hot,
not
but
super, no kids,
just about hot.
no kids,
Yeah.
nice caboose.
Cooking? Got a cookbook?
Nice, got a cookbook.
Got a cookbook.
Got a cookbook. Nice caboose, and this and that. And it's like, well, hold on a second, dude. Do you qualify for her? Hold on, let's just, because we always, I'm very eager to ask women, do they qualify for the man that they want? But I'm also gonna ask men, do you qualify for the woman that you want? Right?
Have you paid attention to how you dress? Do you have a plan? Are you as educated as you could be? If you're rejected constantly and you're out there really trying, well, how many women have you actually asked out? And are you so sure that you're not picking women who will certainly reject you because you're trying to bat out of your league? Because you might be.
Right? So if you're sitting here and you say, well, you're describing to me a woman who's way far above average, are you above average yourself, or are you just average?
And it also makes sense from the woman's perspective, and how Dr. Jordan B. Peterson was talking about, is the woman invests more time and physical resources into carrying a child.
Women have more at stake sexually than men do, per episode, because men don't get pregnant, obviously. If you're irritated at women, as a class of creature, there's something wrong with you. If you got pregnant because you had sex, you'd be pretty damn choosy too.
And allowing a man to enter and shoot up the
club up.
Yeah. Shoot the club up. Then we put 50 Cent here in the club. With a bottle of bub.
But and also we'll say this, I'll say this, and I'll be very clear that, like, when you say, well, yes, a woman who prioritizes you, and like if she's going to give you a child, right, she also has to be confident that you can take care of her and that child, because during that childbirthing years, I mean, childbirth can be hard on a woman, and it could put her in a position
very vulnerable spot,
where she's definitely not gonna. She might not be able to work for a year after that if it's a hard, and maybe the child needs special care. Are you going to be a person who could take care of her and that child? And so I think a lot of times, a lot of men, and this is not caping for women at all, but a lot of men look at women and say, well, they can get anybody for social media, and I swipe right on these comments, and I never get anything back. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. If you're just trying to meet a woman on a dating app, your chances of meeting a woman on a dating app is
not really good.
It's very tough unless you got some love from the algorithm. Let's just be true.
And I know enough women where it's like, let's not put a whole blanket statement, because there is plenty of, I don't know in the whole black community, but with the other races I'm a part of, I mean, it doesn't seem like this is such a widespread issue. Is it an issue? Yes, there is an issue, but it's not a widespread
I think the issue is that we're
portrayed on social media.
That men don't know where to look for women anymore. So, like, one of the things I say about, like, I know men, they look for women in certain places, and like if you're going out to a bar with your guys drinking and you're trying to talk to women there, have you tried to go to a bookstore? Back before the pandemic, a bookstore was a great place to go during the day and read. Have you tried to go to a library? Have you tried to go? Have you tried to go to a farmer's market, and when they're shopping at a farmer's market and and so on? Have you tried? There's places where
places you can go
where you can go and meet a regular girl. So I will say this: a lot of times, men, we need to check our approach and check what's going on, and we need to make ourselves better. Matter of fact, we need to improve ourselves so much that at the very end, after we improve ourselves. And this is, I know this from personal experience, women come knocking on your door, and you become less invisible to them.
And this is the reason why Kevin Samuels talked about being on the LinkedIn level, or LinkedIn analogous to the LinkedIn level, is because now you can show out your achievements and what you have accomplished and who you are as a person in the business realm. And as well as your social media can show parts of your character. And of course, the final seal of the deal is to be having a date with that prospective partner, so you understand each other completely.
And like let's also be honest, right? a lot of men want to sell their potential on the marketplace. So, like, I talk to a lot of guys, and it's like,
And women like to advertise their potential
Yeah.
in the marketplace. That's why you got them booty pics.
But men are like, men are like, yeah, man, she should really like me because I'm going to be a pharmacist.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if that's what you're depending on, she's not going to like. She should like you because you're going to be a pharmacist. Then why doesn't she just go get a pharmacist? If she's going to like me because I'm going to be an attorney, then why don't you go get a attorney, you know?
And Jordan B. Peterson also said that sexual attraction is a mystery.
Yeah.
He actually even said this in the video, which probably won't cover that part, but still, it's...
Right. Well, yeah, because honestly, who knows? Like...
women don't even understand their own sexual attraction.
So it could be chemistry. Women can be attracted to someone who's masculine. Women can be attracted to someone. They could be attracted to the fact that he's masculine, but he doesn't raise his voice.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
The callback is like, you are the problem. You always are the problem. You have to accept the fault for everything. You're at fault for everything. Like this whole Gary Vaynerchuk thing. You're the fault for everything. You're a fault for everything.
One of the biggest things that I told, and I always say, like, you know, like I said before, I'm a general manager of operations. I work for a tech company, and I work for, you know, tech companies in the past. I worked in different fields. But one of the things I always had to realize is that even if I didn't do it, it was my fault. It was my issue. I'm responsible for me. You are responsible for yourself in this field, in this dating world, in this interpersonal relationships, and in how the relationship goes. Even if the relationship falls apart, you have to stop and look at what could you have done better. And this is not giving the other person bail for their bad behavior. Recognize that they were wrong. Recognize what they did bad. Recognize
what you can learn from the situation. And from that, take personal responsibility to your self-development. Because once you understand yourself and understand how you act in certain situations, the best thing to do is be able to control your mind and your emotions to make the best decisions for yourself. And use content like this and our content, even though we can go into the ridiculousness realm.
Sprinkle, sarcasm.
And use that to educate yourself in a humorous way, to educate yourself so you can make better decisions. That's why personal development, self-development is so important, because the more tools that are at your disposal, and as you create a bigger reservoir of knowledge to how to navigate through the world, you will start to find better successes in all areas of your life.
Excellent.
So this is actually probably one of my favorite episodes, or not my most favorite episode, because this is the stuff I really, truly enjoy talking about.
Yes, and this is
important.
And these are the subjects that we're going to cover more. I mean, we're going to give you everything. We're going to give you some of the reactions. We're going to give you some of the sarcasm. But we do, in fact, offer self-improvement. And this is our self-improvement. Thank you very much for rocking with us. As always, like and subscribe on YouTube. Hit the bells for the notifications.
Leave the comments down below.
Leave the comments down below. And the question of the day is, do you agree with Jordan Peterson's version of it's your fault if you can't find your mate?
Let's make that a shorter question.
Do you agree with Dr. Jordan Peterson?
Okay, there we go. That's simple as it is.
Yeah.
And make sure to follow us on our social media networks. Yeah, our social media accounts at the Tip Network. One word. How do I always mess this part?
I don't know. It's just the Tip Network.
Yeah,
just
Tip
one
Network.
word. And you can follow me on Instagram at IamGorilla1, and you can follow this guy at ScottT.
Yep. 3 E's.
3 E's. And once again, thank you for rocking with us, pushing towards to our goals.
1K mark. Maybe we might have gotten there yet.
Maybe the 1K mark already, and 10K by this time next year. Thank you very much for rocking with us, and ask yourself one.
Wait, hold up. And shout out to all the content creators that are always bringing this fire content so we can do reactions too.
Shout out to the roommates. Shout out to the lead attorney. Definitely Kevin Samuels.
Yeah, Kevin Samuels. Shout out to Grind and Motivate. Shout out to Nixon Talks. Shout out to Dr. Jordan B. Peterson if he's watching.
Jordan, yeah. Oh man, that would be great if he was watching it, but he ain't watching us.
We just forgot one more.
I don't know. Man, if we forgot you, we're sorry. Yeah. We're so sorry. Somebody gonna call me. What's wrong with you? I'm sorry. I just can't remember everything. It's like 2:30 in the morning. So ask yourself one burning question.
What are you going to do today to start changing your life for the better?
And can you handle the tip?
Because we're going all in.
Boom.
In your face.
In your face.
In your face. Dr. Peterson, for the men who are complaining about the standards of women today and it being elevated, that it's not so much a pointing the finger at them not choosing them, but more so looking in the mirror and asking themselves what can they do to improve themselves.
Be a little stronger, dress a little better, speak a little more clearly, aim a little higher, and practice that, and that'll work.
We found true happiness